You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
Welcome to the Believe in the Ravens podcast. I'm your host once again, Bo Smolka, joined by my co-host, former Ravens tight end Daniel Wilcox. And today we are just going to try to pick up the pieces of what exactly happened to this Ravens team yesterday on Sunday against Miami. The Ravens blow a 21-point third quarter lead. They're leading 35-14. It all melts down spectacularly in the fourth quarter, and they lose 42-38 in what has to be considered one of the worst losses of the John Harbaugh era. It's only one game. They got a lot to play. That's what they'll say. But where do they go from here? And we will discuss exactly what went right and really what went wrong in that game, especially over the final 15 minutes. Before we get into that, I want to remind you that Believe in the Sports, Believe broadcasts are sponsored by BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-the-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league: Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, golf, esports, even combat sports. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join today and make your first bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Well, Daniel Wilcox, this Ravens game started on Sunday as well as they could have ever imagined, with Devin Duvernay returning the opening kickoff 103 yards for a touchdown. And throughout that first half of the game, the Ravens looked to just be a step ahead of Miami. Remember, we talked last week. The Ravens went to Miami a year ago and just got flat out beaten up in every way. And this year, they looked so much more prepared. They looked so much sharper, and they are winning. Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdown passes in the first half. He looked to be in complete command. And then things completely fall apart in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins get 4 possessions. They score 4 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown with 14 seconds left. So Daniel Wilcox, when you kind of sift through the rubble of this one, what happened?
Man, that's a great question, Bo. I tell you what, man, this is probably one of the most exciting football games I've seen in a long time, man. I mean, it was a absolute shootout for pretty much the most part of the game, and the Ravens had control, pretty much all the way through this game. At some point, it just all fell apart in the fourth quarter. And when you look at, to me, what happens, obviously it's some miscommunications in coverage. I don't know how you could be in cover 0 in the fourth quarter when you're up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and leave guys running wide open, especially when you got nothing but track stars on the other side of the field. It was a pure showcase of how fast Tyreek Hill and Waddle is, and it was just unfreaking believable watching those guys just get wide open, get behind all coverage, which never happens. The Ravens have always kind of kept guys over the top, and whether it's cover 4, whether it's cover 2, or whether it's some kind of cover 3 shell. Obviously, it was some miscommunications in the fourth quarter. I know McDonald would not have called cover 0 in the fourth quarter, allow these guys to blow the top off our defense the way they did. But it was, a lot of times you get guys running open and your quarterbacks don't find them. So you got to take your hat off to Tua and his availability to be able to find those guys, his visibility to be able to see those guys when they come open right away and find a way to get them the ball some kind of way. And he only put the ball where those guys can get it. We had some plays early in the game, but we got some turnovers with Williams, and I thought that was going to be the determining factor. Usually when you win that turnover battle and you get a special teams touchdown, the game is yours, but some kind of way, 6 touchdowns later by Tua. I mean, God dang, man, you had to play a perfect game to beat them in this situation. And he by far did not play a perfect game. But I mean, when you throw 6 touchdowns and pass for over 400 yards, heck, you're supposed to win that. With us having the best secondary, I think, in the country, which I thought was the best secondary in the country, you wouldn't think you would have that much miscommunication back there with those veteran guys. But you had some young guys mixed in, and some stuff happened that wasn't supposed to happen. And you hate to see the young guy, Armour Davis, get taken advantage like that as well. But good OCs in this league, they recognize every single substitution. They got guys up there in that box. All they do is count how many guys is on the field so you don't get out too many players on the field or not have enough players on the field, and who comes in and off the sideline for personnel changes, whether it's 12, 22 personnel, whatever it may be. And when you substitute a starter for a young guy, and they know exactly who that young guy is. We going right at his throat, and that's what happened in the fourth quarter. They wanted that kid's throat, and they made some plays. And you can't put two of the fastest receivers probably in the world. This entire game looked like a freaking Olympic track tryout. I mean, it was unfreaking believable, man. You talking about you take Waddle, Hill, Lamar, Bateman, you put all those guys on a 4x1 team. Hell, we may win. we may win Olympic gold next year,
And
even
Duvernay.
against Jamaica.
And
Duvernay
was
too.
like 21 miles an hour on his kickoff return. The Ravens, in fact, became the first team in NFL history to have a rushing, receiving, and returning touchdown of at least 75 yards in the game, and they lost the game.
It was an explosive game, man.
Big, explosive. It was an explosive game. And to your point, Marlon Humphrey, you talked about the young guys coming in. Marlon Humphrey had been dealing with a groin injury that he suffered during the week. He was questionable to play. He started, he started, but then toward the end of the game, he was out of the game. And he told us after the game that it wasn't a sense that things tightened up on him. He just felt like he really couldn't go. And maybe he didn't feel like he was really playing well early. So he's out of the game. And you are absolutely right. There's no question that the Dolphins coaching staff noticed that Jalen Armour-Davis, a fourth-round rookie, is now on the field on the outside instead of Marlon Humphrey, and they attacked him. And on that long touchdown to Tyreek Hill, there was a clear miscommunication problem because Armour-Davis let Hill go right by him, and he clearly thought that Williams or Hamilton was going to be playing back on that play. Williams and Hamilton were both up at the line of scrimmage. One of them clearly was not doing what he was supposed to be doing, and now Tyreek Hill is 10 yards behind Armour-Davis with no one near him. And I know there was talk about Tua's arm strength and can he throw the deep ball or whatever. He threw two perfectly placed deep balls for touchdowns because on the one before that, or on the other one to Tyreek Hill, he got a step or two behind Marcus Peters. So, and I know Marcus Peters was back on the field playing his first game in over a year, but Hill got behind him too. And Hill's one of the fastest guys in the league. And so it just turned into a disaster for the Ravens, just an absolute disaster. And it took away from what had been a tremendous game from Lamar Jackson. Like I said, last year, the Dolphins made Lamar Jackson just look frustrated and choppy and completely out of sorts. And in this game, for 3 quarters, Lamar Jackson totally dismantled the Dolphins. Jackson was 11 for 13 for 3 touchdowns in the first half. And we talked last week, Daniel Wilcox, about one way you can beat that cover zero. If you can throw that quick slant to Bateman and he can beat his guy to the inside and there's no one in the middle of the field, he can outrun someone. And what did you do? He outran him for a 75-yard touchdown. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson had the great run for the touchdown himself. So Jackson played. I mean, there's no way Jackson should lose a game with the numbers that he put up. But here's the other problem that came up yesterday, and it came up more than once. For all the big explosive plays the Ravens put together, when they needed to get 1 yard, they could not do it. They couldn't do it at the goal line, and they couldn't do it on 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead. And I've got people who are complaining to me saying, why didn't Harbaugh just punt there with a 14-point lead? They're at the Dolphins. I had no issue with him going for it here. They're at the Dolphins' 40-yard line. They've got a 14-point lead. They need 1 yard. They've got Lamar Jackson, and they've got a 3-time Pro Bowl fullback. And if you can't get 1 yard in that situation, that's on you. And it was on them. But, I mean, they could not gain a yard. They had 1st and goal at the 2, ran the ball 4 times and did not score. They had 4th and goal at the 1 in the fourth quarter, ran the ball, could not get the first down. Why can't this team gain 1 yard when they need it? Is it the running backs? Is it the offensive line? What's going on there?
No, I'm gonna be this is me putting my coaching hat on right here, Bo. So I'm telling you right now, like, this is simple football 101 mathematics. All right. If they got 8, 9, 10 guys in the box, you throw it. If they got 9, 10, 11 guys in the box, you throw it. Right. We was going against the entire game because the Ravens play such a condensed, tight type of offense where you keep everybody in tight. We had every play there was 9 guys in it. That's why we capitalized, early on so much, because it was one-on-one battles on the outside all the time because they had so many guys in the box to try to prevent the run. They know we're gonna run the ball. They know we got Lamar Jackson. They know we got good running backs. So they're gonna do everything they can to stop the run from Baltimore and make Lamar beat you with his arm, right? when we was in that goal line situation, they had 11 guys in the box because we was in 3 tight end sets. We had Ricard out there, Andrews out there, Likely out there, and then we had one back on the field.
We even they even put in the big rookie tackle, Daniel Falele. He was even there in a jumbo set.
Yeah, he went in at one of the tight ends. Falele did, man. And it's just when you look at that situation, they're going to run the ball, and then you take the smallest guy out there, Lamar Jackson, and try to have him running into the end zone or power his way in. You saw it later on when Mark Andrews got the touchdown. Mm-hmm. He should have had the touchdown early, right? And they didn't give it to him. They said his knee was down on the one, and then they go and they throw the ball to Mark Andrews. It was the same situation. You had all that big heavy package in, and then Mark Andrews, there's 3 guys running wide open on that touchdown. Right. He could have threw it to anybody. So it's like you got 11 guys, 10 guys in the box all ready for the run, and you do exactly what they tell you to do. To me, I just think it's coaching. I think when you got 6, 7 guys in the box, that's when you run the ball. When you got 8, 9, 10, 11 guys in the box, you throw the ball 100% of the time. It's coaching one-on-one. I've never been an OC myself, but being an offensive guy and understanding what the dynamics is, you're putting me in a bad situation if they're playing us for the run, and then we run the ball right where they think we're going to run it at. This is not freaking Pop Warner football. This is NFL big time football. They go back, they take the analytics, and they look at the analytics. They say every time the Ravens get into this jumbo package, 99% of the time they're going to run the ball. They're going to run into the right. They're going to run into the 2-hole. They're going to run into A gaps, and you prepare for that. You put your best guys in the A gaps so they can't run it there, and then you bring your best linebackers and run stoppers, and you put them right there in the middle. So if he try to jump over the top, you're gonna hit him in his mouth. And then we did exactly what they thought we were going to do. The one time we didn't is when we got an easy touchdown with Mark Andrews. So to me, it was that part. That part is on coaching, and it's not always the player's fault. Even the fumble with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he took off a little bit early. He with anticipation, but he looked at this thing like, man, come on, bro, come on. Like, I'm gonna have to get this thing before they get to me. So he tried to get in there as fast as he possibly could, left a little early. The ball comes out, shoots out. Thank God we fall on it, and you got a veteran running back in at the time, and he knows exactly what to do. He jumped right on it. He didn't try to pick it up because that could have got real ugly and turned the other way quick.
I said right at the time, I said that could have easily been a 99-yard fumble return the other way because everyone of the Ravens was moving the other way. And if Davis doesn't fall on it, it's probably a 99-yard fumble return the other way. Yeah, Jackson said he just mishandled the snap on that one. But, Mike Davis tried 2 times to get in, and this running game just hasn't gotten going. I mean, the running backs yesterday had 14 carries for 28 yards, and it wasn't just in the. It's
not their fault, Bo.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. You look at the game, I'm telling you, every single time we ran the ball, there's 8, 9 guys in the box. Throw the freaking football. Throw it until they get out of that situation. Say, all right, we got to stop doing that. They're killing us in the pass. And it's not like Lamar can't throw. Give him a chance to throw the ball 40 times a game and see what happens. I promise you're going to win. It's just, to me, I'm so frustrated to know how dynamic we are on offense, and we become one-dimensional at times. And I'm not bashing the Ravens coaches or anything like that because they got phenomenal coaching. This whole offense is based around Lamar Jackson. First time in the history of the NFL that coaches are smart enough. Yeah, that's right. I said Raven coaches are smart enough to base the offense off their franchise guy, actually put it all around them, change the offensive scheme, and make it work that benefits him best. The bad part is that we don't spread people out enough. We don't put 4 wides, 5 wides on the field and spread people out and force them to have 6 in the box so he could be great as he really can be.
There was a time in the fourth quarter when they did try to throw. In fact, that last possession, the Ravens' last offensive possession, not counting the very, very last one, but they were up 7. They've got the ball. They've got a chance to maybe milk the clock, or they're up 3 maybe. Anyway, They have the ball. They run Justice Hill. He loses 2. Now it's 2nd and 12. And Lamar Jackson passed the ball twice, incomplete, and now they got to punt it away. And part of that was, the running game was not working, and maybe it was because they were putting 9 guys in the box. But I had no issue with throwing there because they weren't moving the ball on the ground. It did allow the clock to stop, and it gave Miami more time. But I can understand why Jackson was looking to throw in those situations. But the fact that they couldn't get a yard, to your point, if they're going to stack 9 in there, I mean, I've always loved the play action tight end drag from the 1-yard line. I think it's going to be open 99 times out of 100. And you're right. He had 3 receivers completely wide open on that play. They're all crashing on the. Nope, no one was covered. They could have. So Could they have done that on the fourth down play? Maybe they did, but whatever reason, they did not gain a yard when they needed, and it cost them.
We call that butt naked, Bo. When everybody's wide open, they're butt naked. Okay.
Yep.
It was 3 guys in the end zone wide open. Take your choice.
Yep, exactly right. So at that point, I mean, things are looking great for the Ravens, and then it all unraveled in the fourth quarter. Let me ask you this, Daniel Wilcox. So they're in command. They completely self-destruct, implode, and lose this game. Calais Campbell said afterwards, "We can't let this game beat us twice."
Right.
If you're in that locker room, if you're in that film room today, if you're in that film room tomorrow, how do you move past this? How do you just put this behind you and move forward? Because this could be a game that tips the season the wrong way, it seems to me. So how do you move past it?
It's the NFL, Bo. I mean, you can't get caught up on losses in this game. I mean, you had that game won. I mean, you make a mistake or two here or there, you lose a guy here or there. Hell, Tyreek Hill went out with cramps for a while, came back in like Lamar did the 2 year season before, like Superman, to win the game for him. So I mean, it's the NFL. Everybody has talent. Everybody is talented teams, and what you see right now is the Dolphins is starting to run into some confidence. Tyreek Hill was a huge confidence booster for that team, and this is a team that Brian Flores put together, and they're starting to, you're reaping the benefits of the guys that he brought in. And to me, when you watch that game, they didn't outplay the Ravens. They didn't out hustle the Ravens. They got out coached. Mostly to me, it looked like they just kind of got out coached towards the end of the game. We made some mistakes throughout that game periodically that you look back and say that was a bad call. They shouldn't have called that. And you look at it throughout the entire game. We got out coached. So I think as players, as coaches, first of all, it's as part of being a man is being able to admit when you're wrong. As a coach, you got to be able to say, "Hey, man, fellas, I put y'all in a bad spot. That's on me. That won't happen again." And as coaches, you got to step up and do that. As players, you got to go through that game just like if you won, you take all the things you did great and you continue to grow on those, and then you take those things that you did bad, and then you try your damnedest never to make those same mistakes again. And that's what you have to do. You have to go in, you have to make those corrections. You do your walkthrough on the corrections, and then you come back and you fix the things that went wrong. And then you look at hard with the things that you did right, and you take those things that you did right and you continue to work those over and over again to polish them and perfect them. And those things you did wrong, you either throw them out or you fix them, correct them, and then you put them back in another frame so that you can figure out a way to make it work better for you. So I mean, this was all simple bonehead type mistakes. It wasn't like the Dolphins just beat up on the Ravens like they did last year. Last year they came out and manhandled us. The Ravens wouldn't going to allow that to happen this year, and we almost matched them speed for speed, explosive play for explosive play. They just made more plays than we did at the end of the day. I mean, our defense made plays, they made turnovers. The only difference from our defense now and our defense of the past, the turnover we made in the past, we turned them into scores, on the defensive side of the ball. We return them for pick sixes, pitch them back to 2 or 3 guys. Some kind of way we get it in the end zone. These was 2, one going out of bounds, the other one was like some kind of freak tip Super Bowl winning type play that changes the whole momentum of a game where you land on your back and you scoop it off the ground. Yeah, it was a great catch, man. Concentration. But, we didn't get points on the defensive side of the ball. I almost had a couple of those. We had a couple of forced fumbles, and I think they threw the ball in the flats one time to one of the Dolphins' backs, and we came up and hit them. And I thought we had a chance to maybe jump on that, man. But I mean, we was causing pressure with rushing 3 or 4 guys at times. When the Ravens can do that, that's when we were at our best. And if we could cause pressure just by rushing 3 or 4, that lets you know exactly how good our defensive line is. We got an opportunity to be really, really good this year. You go back, you fix and tweak a couple of things. We cannot give up that amount of points to any team in the league if you want to be successful. You got to stop them from scoring. 6 touchdowns is way too many.
No, you give up 42 points, you're going to lose almost every single week.
Yeah.
But the health will be a factor. With Marlon Humphrey can't go, they got issues. I mean, Marcus Peters is back, and it looks like he will, if he wasn't 100% yet, he should be getting there soon. But they didn't have Brandon Stevens. They didn't have Marlon Humphrey for key moments. They didn't have Kyle Fuller. So that's 3 of what you thought were your top 4 cornerbacks were not playing in that last drive for the Dolphins. If you're Mike Macdonald, the defensive excuse me, if you're Mike Macdonald, the defensive coordinator, who in talk radio this morning in this town is really taking a beating, it's his second game as the defensive coordinator, and he is just getting roasted this morning on talk radio. What are you doing when you walk in that building today if you're Mike McDonald?
I'll take the heat. Say, hey guys, this one's on me. You know what I mean? Like, even if you guys make mistakes, even if there was miscommunication issues, whatever that situation is, I should have held you accountable earlier in the week. So it's on me. At this league, at this level, everybody can play, everybody can run, everybody's athletic, everybody can change direction, everybody can catch. Everybody is a football player. So when guys have miscommunication issues, those are usually lack of communication throughout the week. Where somewhere somebody lapsed, there was a lapse in judgment somewhere where we didn't go over it enough that I knew that the backups was ready if this situation came. As a backup in this league, you have to always prepare like you're a starter. So as much as it's on the players, it's on the coach as well, because the coach don't have to coach these guys as much as they would in the collegiate level or a high school level or a park ball level. But one thing I can speak from, from experience, we don't know everything as players, no matter how good we are. We come in and sometimes we've been so good athletically that we're able to fly underneath the radar, and it looks like we know what we're doing even when we don't, because we're that good athletically and that explosive. So sometimes we don't really even know where cover 2 is. We don't know where cover 4 is. Sometimes you got to go to the basics and break it down and let them understand why this zone is this zone and why I'm supposed to be here. This is why. A lot of times we honestly don't know. And it looks like we know because we make play after play after play after play. But sometimes you got to be very direct and you got to be very, stern by giving your test to the guys to see if they kill the test. And then you got to ask them questions in meeting rooms so that you can call them out. And then if they don't know, you find out. I was watching the movie Drumline with my son last week, Bo, and Nick Cannon on Drumline could not read the music sheet. But he anything by ear, if he hear it one time, like photographic memory, he could play anything if he heard it once. So he memorized everything. He memorized all his audition stuff. Nobody knew he could read but one guy. And that one guy called him out. The coach has to call you out when you don't know something so that he can teach you what you need to know. And if you don't know it if you don't get it from the coach, get it from a teammate. Get it from anybody that you need to get it from in order to be great. So you put yourself in situations. I can guarantee you Five was praying that he wasn't going to play this week, but he had to get out there and play. And he got victimized. Unfortunately, he got victimized his first game. Confidence is everything, man. You got to have it.
Well, that will be very interesting. Jalen Armour-Davis, like I said, fourth round draft pick rookie, played a few snaps in the opener against the New York Jets, but now there he is outside against Tyreek Hill, one-on-one in the fourth quarter of a game that's starting to slip away.
The worst nightmare.
Sure, right? I mean, and if you're a pro football player, you think you can handle this moment, but that is a big ask for him. And then, of course, with the communication issues, complicates everything. There will be a lot of questions in that facility this week. As we said, the offense looked great at times, but couldn't get a yard when they need it. And the defense just, it was a disaster in every level in the fourth quarter of that game. They've got a lot to figure out. And they go to New England this week, and then they have the Bills and the Bengals. So there is a tough 3-week stretch coming up, and they need to figure these things out. John Harbaugh said yesterday that how we respond to this will go a long way toward dictating what the rest of our season looks like. And he's right. And as I said, Calais Campbell right after the game said, we can't let this game beat us twice. How they will compartmentalize this and be able to just separate it and get rid of it is going to be a huge part of this season, quite frankly, because as I said, I think this is one of the worst losses of the John Harbaugh tenure.
Oh, man, that bad, Bo? You think it was that bad?
They lost a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter. There has not been an NFL team in 12 years that lost a game when they led by 21 in the fourth quarter.
What about the Falcons? The Falcons seem to lose every game. I'm down here in Atlanta, so I mean, shit, at least it wasn't a Super Bowl like the Falcons did, right?
No, it was not a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so
it was not a Super Bowl.
It's just week 2, Bo. It's just week 2. Let's not give it the worst one.
Well, this is it, right? This is what they're saying. It's the second week. It's 1-1. Fans want to fire Mike McDonald after 2 games. Fans say this guy's terrible. That guy's terrible.
They gotta calm down.
Hamilton's a bust. A lot of that stuff is way overblown for 2 games.
Yeah, calm down, Baltimore.
It's how you respond at 1-1 with 3 big games coming up. And this is going to be very interesting what happens with this team this week. They will be going to New England on Sunday to face the New England Patriots. They are also 1-1. And then, as I said, they've got the Bills and the Bengals back to back. So it's a big stretch coming up for the Ravens, and they don't really want to enter that stretch coming off a loss like this, but they have no choice. That is the situation. We'll be back with a show later this week discussing that New England Patriots game, taking a little closer look at these teams. John Harbaugh and Bill Belichick have matched wits many, many times, and we'll see what these teams have in store for that game. That is the Ravens and the Patriots on Sunday. For Daniel Wilcox, I want to thank you for listening. This is Bo Smolka on the Believe in the Ravens podcast presented by Bet Online.